Question back at you directly. Why do you think that is? I mean, is just because we're too stubborn, just because we're too lazy to change things, or is it just because we're too afraid to actually that other countries could gain more power and we lose ours?
So, I think there is a very easy answer to that and a rather complex one. The complex one is that it's all of those things, maybe with the exception of the lazy bit. We are afraid of losing out. We are afraid of relative power shifts. We are afraid of a world order that takes away our structural advantages. And we have not yet developed trust in the global south to actually get it done, to look beyond their borders. Because another point is, it is the West that is driving the Sustainable Development Goals. It's the West that is driving humanitarian action around the world. And it's definitely not the Global South. Now, the legitimate counter-argument is the Global South does not yet have the money and has enough problems at home to go abroad and solve things. And we do see Kenya going to Haiti and things like that. So there is an increasing amount of agency in the Global South. But again, I would say, just not enough. Now the question is, are we leaving them enough room? Are we making it easy for them to enter the debate at the right level? Are we enabling them? Is that even our job? I think those are the questions we need to discuss.
Also, I wanna add one more point to the discussion, and I know you've been very outspoken about this. You said in an interview.
Never is outspoken.
I'm shy.
I've noticed. You said in an interview there is a creeping surrender to China in the world.
Not in the world, in Europe.
Okay.
Be specific. I said that it's time to now, perhaps for all of us who study geopolitics and security, to come to the conclusion that EU is not a security actor. Maybe we are assessing EU in the wrong way. Maybe EU is a mercantilist geography, and we should not be thinking about a strategic strand emerging from this continent. And it's our expectations that are leading to disappointment. And maybe Europe was always like this. That's what I've said. I've said it's time perhaps to consider EU as a non-security actor and to deal with the individual countries separately, based on those who understand where the world is headed and those who don't. I read the report produced by German industry on China, and they felt that it was a very bold report. It was not.
But is it then?
It was an apology to China that, sorry, we are using these words in the first 3 pages. The last 10 pages were, let's do business together and let's do it deeper and let's do it more. I think that was what the German industry report on China was, that let's talk about obfuscation of the reality that one day Uncle Sam is going to tell you, Germany, no energy from Russia, you towed that line. They will tell you no business with China, you'll have to stop then. But you are not willing to change your China fix. Your China addiction is a problem. You are in fact doubling down, and most of your industries are announcing larger expansion of investments into that country. Now, I'm not saying don't do that. By the way, we have grown our trade with China as well. In the last few years, we have 200,000 or 150,000 Chinese troops on our border, right? We are facing off even now. There's an active situation. It's not peace there. I mean, since it's far away, you don't realize it, but we have a ongoing situation on our borders, and we have still grown our trade simply because there is a certain amount of trade that is largely beneficial for the supply chain aspects of global production, and there are some critical sectors where we have banned Chinese completely. For example, we don't have TikTok in our country. But the Germans love TikTok, so TikTok is allowed in this country, right? Because that's your entertainment. I'm just assuming. Because we didn't think TikTok was any use to us, and we didn't want Chinese propaganda to be proliferating our society. We banned TikTok, we banned many Chinese apps, we banned them from our 5G networks, we banned them from our telecommunication and energy systems, we banned them from our infrastructure and coastal development. So we have taken certain sectors which are pragmatic for national security and kept them out of bounds for
But
actors.
seriously, like bans, because we've spoken about global free trade, is bans really the answer?
China, if with China you talk about global free trade, China laughs at you. China trades with you on its terms. China bans your companies from participating in their economy and wants you to be opening their doors to them. Seek reciprocity. That is the first free trade agreement, reciprocity. Give to the other what they give to you. When they don't give you that, don't give it back.
So much.
I like the Chinese too. I do a lot of trade with them.
Yeah. What I'm asking myself is, because you said like most of it's been run by people and some Western capitals. If it's true that we surrender to China, especially in Europe, is it not actually the Chinese that run us?
They run who? They run the Europeans.
Well, like more or
Look,
less.
I don't think we have reached that level yet, but I can certainly say that there are enough reports coming out of this part of the world, certainly one that came out in the UK, how the entire R&D system of UK universities was actually building Chinese capabilities in critical technologies. If you look at deep tech, and that's a very broad term, but if you look at some 23 important technologies, there's an Australian report which says that in 18 out of the 23 technologies, China leads. Now, this has been largely built on the back of their being able to capture all your R&D and innovation centers around the world. They have funded Cambridge, they have funded Oxford, they have funded East Coast of America, they have funded perhaps even universities in this country. I've not necessarily looked at Germany, so I will refrain from commenting on it. But I won't be surprised that if a large part of your civil architecture is contributing to their increasing influence in key sectors. Second, they control your media. Chinese ads are very lucrative for most media houses that are suffering from bottom line problems. And Chinese ads ensure that criticism of China is muted in most of your newspapers and mediums.
That's not true. It's simply not true.
I mean, look, again, this is the report that comes out of your continent, not my reading. I'm reading out to you from a UK report that came out of, again, one of the authors is from the House of Lords, and I'm reading from that report. Now, like I said, I'm not speaking about Germany because I don't know, but I'm talking about this continent. And that report literally said that from research papers to media conversations to innovation that's happening in labs, today actually serves China's benefit. I've written a book on it. It's called Pax Sinica. Buy it. It's nice. It tells you how China is borrowing your boats to cross the seas. It's your boats. They are riding it.
I'm honestly very much opposing the fact that we're not critical on China in this country. I can't really say much about other medias, but we're not silencing on China just because they're supporting ads. So that's very much from my business, and I know I can speak for a lot of colleagues. So, but if we want to talk from problematic, let's say, trade partners to partnerships, maybe on the last 50 seconds that we have, what is a good partnership? I mean, like you said, US and India would make sense, especially, I think you've mentioned defense, space, AI technology would make sense. What do you think makes sense to partner? Who do you think makes sense to partner with?
You know, I think at the end of the day, if we believe that the world has become more transactional, which the Munich Security Conference believes, then the world has become a global marketplace of ideas. Then it is our Western ideas that, you know, are the more sustainable, the more fair, the more equitable in the long run. They're definitely the least attractive in the short run. And so I think partnerships that build on long-term benefit generation are the ones that we need to look at. Mm-hmm. And I think there are
like which one?
You know, to be perfectly honest, I think at the end of the day it is technology. It all comes down to technology. And at the moment, from a geostrategic point of view, we're making a huge mistake by being in competition more with our friends than with our real rivals. Mm-hmm. And that is absolutely disastrous. And here, I think, a true transatlantic partnership on technology, rather than trying to regulate each other out of business, would be the way forward.
Mm-hmm. Very good point. we did run out of time. The fact that I do love discussing and arguing would make me like wanna do that again. Let's do that again some other time, maybe soon.
But you
because
never asked me what's a good partnership, and I'm saying an India-EU partnership is the future.
oh, that's nice.
Now that I love you all.
And an India-German one, even more important. But notice us. Now, I think we are getting lots of young Indian students coming to your colleges. Our relationship is going to change. The India-US relationship was built on smart Indians going and building that country and then building that partnership. And I think Germany is going to see that in the next 10 years as well. We are coming and we are going to be helping you grow faster and grow in the right direction.
And that's all we need, growth. Thank you very much to the both of you. Thank you very much. Thank you.